No, just kidding.
Yeah, true. All right. No. So yeah, and that's good. I think some of the other things, and one of the things, like when I started blogging, you really want to take a minute and kind of think about where your boundaries are, especially if you're going to be telling your story. Right? I know you and I have had a conversation before earlier today about do you use your real name or not?
Pen name
and
or not?
That's a serious consideration, right? Because somebody's going to Google you at some point in your life and be like, hey, look, you got to be willing to do that. I have had, back a few years ago, I've had coworkers walk into my office, shut the door, and say, hey, so I found your blog. Which is the most uncomfortable conversation you ever want to start, because I'm just like, oh, God.
You're off your game. You're, like, cut off.
Yeah, you have no idea where it's going. Although, for the record, almost all of those conversations ended with, I was abused too, but I've never told anybody, which means the world to me when someone wants to do that. So it's worth it, but that initial uncomfortable feeling of, someone I know in real life is reading my blog.
Yeah, and then it's full frontal for you. We have Joe back on the line. Hi, Joe. Welcome to Moments of Clarity. Thanks for calling in.
Hello, Tiffany.
Hey, Joe.
And Mike, thank you for having the courage to come on the show. I remember you said at the very beginning you're kind of nervous, but you don't sound nervous. You sound like you're in your comfort zone, man. And I want to thank you for that blog you've done for all these years with the intention of helping people. I know we're friends on Facebook, but we haven't really chatted too much up until now, but I'm going to reach out to you to talk to you about some things. But I did have a couple questions.
Sure.
But before I ask you those questions, I want to mention something Lucinda said, and if she's listening, I believe she still is. She commented on how she stayed at the school. She thought she could stay overnight. She didn't want to go home. And
heart-touching, isn't it?
To that. Hello?
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching, heart-touching.
It is heart-wrenching, especially when you have siblings at home. Like, I had 4 younger brothers. And a sister, but I completely and totally understand that. So, Mike, my question is, now, Tiffany, maybe clarify. So, Mike, you talked about how as you're growing up through the abuse and stuff, you kind of, I don't know if the word was isolate yourself or whatever, but for years I've used this word, and Tiffany, maybe you have to correct me. I've referenced the word or the phrase Stockholm Syndrome. And maybe that's not the right word, but what I mean by that is, in spite of all my abuse, I was still trying to buy their acceptance, or just, kiss butt, so to speak, or just do whatever I could.
Or sympathize for the abusers?
Absolutely. Did you experience that, Mike?
To some extent, yes. As a child, definitely, because it was happening in my family, and the Stockholm Syndrome really kicked in with you start identifying with that person, you start wanting to take care of that person or protect that person because they're just around all the time. And so for me, I don't know, I can't answer because I dissociated so often. I can't necessarily tell you I identified with that person. But there was definitely, because of all the other chaos that was going on in my family, there was definitely a point of I need to keep this secret so that I don't upset everything else that's going on. Right? I need to take care of the situation with my dad. I need to take care of my other brothers. Like I need to protect everybody, so I need to keep this secret. I can't tell anybody, right? Because it'll upset everything. So that was it's kind of a version of Stockholm Syndrome for sure, in terms of just I need to protect other people in my family. I can't upset things. I can't call children's services or tell a teacher who might call children's services because that's going to upset the family and my parents, and it's going to embarrass everybody in my family, so I can't do that.
Or you might get penalized for it. A lot of people didn't want the beating for involving people to get help.
Well, Mike, I did that. I talked to my school teacher, and she actually came to the house, and they put on a big show, and they covered her eyes up with lies and deception and whatever, because she was going to turn them into social services, I discovered later. But I got the crap beat out of me by both of them. Same thing happened when I went to my grandparents and people at the church. Essentially, the church failed me, the family failed me, and the school failed me.
Yeah. And that is sad. It's incredibly sad when that happens. The people who are supposed to protect you just don't.
Right. Again, Mike,
it's amazing to me that people have lived through that kind of disappointment like you have and still come out the other side trusting anyone.
It amazes me when people are actually able to trust. Like some of the survivors I wrote about in my book, they're nicest, most wonderful people, and treated like crap their entire lives, raped by fathers, brothers, cousins, friends from their brothers at school, at the age of 7, from 2 to 14. And one of them, 57 reconstructive surgeries at the time of the book in 2015. I know there's been more since then in the genital area from consistent rape, scarring, tissue, all that. Yeah, and she's the nicest person you would ever meet. And if I had sniffles one day, she'd call me up the next day and say, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And I'm like, "You just had the emotional breakthrough in counseling, and you're worried about my stuffy nose." It's just, sometimes you find the most beautiful, sympathetic, empathetic, which probably has one of those side effects from abuse, is that they can understand anything somebody's going through, probably to an extreme. But not everyone turns into a nice person like that. And I would ask, how do you know what to do, for Christmas and holidays and all this stuff? And she said, through the movies. That's how bad it was. Watching a movie made her realize what a normal family, quote unquote, should act like.
Wow. Well, again, thank you, Mike. And, we're not alone. I've come to the realization that the team, Moments of Clarity, Tiffany, and everyone that comes on, we are a family.
We are family.
And it's so important. I'm going to let you guys go, but I'm going to mention something to you real quick, Tiffany. And so I mentioned before how, as a young child, I became the protector of my younger brothers when I had those suicidal ideations and all that. And it was because of them I persevered. I pressed on in spite of what I had to endure every day. And now that I have kids of my own, and we were talking about this last night, but I was talking to it with my kids, they are my everything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's my kids that make me want to get up in the morning, make me want to be the best I can be. I mean, I can't put it any other way, and I know that's cliche, but really, for me...
It's not cliche. It's the best way to be. We have to put our kids first.
And when my kids give me even now, 21 and 19, they'll pet me, give me a kiss on the cheek, and they hug me, and they say, "I love you, Dada." Or they'll say, "I need a hug." You know what? You know how powerful that is? The bond, the love, they're accepted, they're loved, they're not neglected. It's huge.
My phrase, when my kids do that, usually when they're like, "I love you, Mom," I usually go, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
That's me. But then, of course, I appreciate it, but then I'm like, what do you want?
Thanks again, Mike. Have a good week, sir.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for both, all the stuff that you do. And Joe, great show yesterday. And thanks for calling in.
All right, I'll reach out to you later, Mike. Have a good one.
All right, have a good one.
Take care. It's time for our second break, and then we're going to go into some more depth. And callers are still welcome to call in, 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. And we are going to take our second break, okay, Mike? And we'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment. Please stay tuned.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hi, welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity, and my name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. Today we're talking about some very hard topics to bring light to subjects, but that is so much more common than anyone realizes, and it's childhood abuse, sexual abuse, and incest, and all sorts of things that, you know, it's amazing how some of the best adults have endured such tragic childhoods. And my guest today has had a blog for 18 years, since 2001 and counting, and it's called child-abuse-survivor.net. And I want to welcome to Moments of Clarity, Mike McBride.
Thank you. It's interesting that you say that about the how common it is, because one of the things I like to do with my blog, because I am a tech and I work with data and numbers all the time. I like to look at like statistics that maybe most people don't quite grasp or understand where they come from, and do that. And a number of years ago, I actually broke down the statistics, and I was like, look, it is almost mathematically impossible that you don't know anybody who was abused as a child. Like,
right.
They just don't talk about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this does affect you, right? These things matter. Because, I mean, if you look at even the statistics that are accepted, if it's, 1 in 3 girls, 1 in 6 boys, which, again, those are the people who actually admit it on a form, so it may be actually higher than that. I mean, that's 2 out of 9 people, that were. You're talking 20, 25% of the population. There's no way of the hundreds of people you come in contact with all the time that you don't know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just not open about it.
Right.
So it does impact everybody.
It does. And it's horrible. I mean, as a mother myself, sometimes I look at my children and I couldn't imagine anything bad happening to them like that, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. But it does. Hopefully not.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, bullying from other kids is enough. It's bad enough to, hear them go through that. But
especially now that they can do that 24 hours a day on social media.
So what do you think?
I can't even imagine.
What do you think the hardest thing for you, that overcoming abuse and having to heal as an adult now, has been for you?
I think for me, one of the things that when I finally did get to work with a therapist that I really liked and was on some medication to kind of smooth things out for a little while I worked with her, one of the things we really had to take a look at was just understanding all the things that I learned wrong, right? All the things you grow up thinking, and then you're like, oh, yeah, that's not actually true. So, right, when you're, for example, right, when you're a kid, when you're a small child, the world revolves around you. Mm-hmm. You can't imagine anything that's outside of you. You cry, people feed you, right? Mm-hmm. this is how the world works, right?
Yeah, you don't know anyone else yet except your parents and your family, pretty much.
You don't understand that other people are important.